The vault door sealed behind them with a sound like stone grinding. For a moment there was no light. Then thin lines on the floor ignited, pale blue, forming a path forward. The air was cold and dry, as if no one had entered for years. Queen Soren kept her blade up. Commander Hale raised his weapon. Elias Wren stood in the middle, because both princesses clung to his arms and refused to let go. A soft chime echoed. "Guardian trial pending," a voice said, not through speakers, but through the metal itself. Elias stared at the walls. "That's not a station system." "No," Soren said. "It is older." The blue path led them into a wide chamber built like a shrine. Curved black pillars rose into darkness. Dragon symbols covered the walls, worn smooth by time. In the center, a round platform held a metal stand shaped like open claws. Above it floated a crystal the size of a heart. It pulsed faintly like it was asleep. Hal whispered, "What is this place?" The crystal brightened, and the air hummed. Elias's tone puck vibrated in his pocket, answering the same note. Soren's scales tingled. "A bond engine," she said, "a resonance core." The voice returned. "Present the Guardian." The floor light shifted. A blue circle formed around Elias. A second circle formed around the princesses, even while they held him. The glow was gentle, but firm, like rules being drawn. Elias swallowed. "I don't want to hurt them." "Then do not," the voice said. "Choose." A panel opened on the far wall. Short bridge extended over a dark gap. On the other side stood a pedestal with one simple lever. Words appeared above it. "Release the heirs to pass, or stay and fail." Hale's jaw tightened. "It wants you to let them go." Elias looked down at the princesses. The first stared up at him, calm and unblinking. The second pressed her cheek to his sleeve and whispered, "Safe." Soren stepped closer. Her voice softened, careful. "Elias, if you release them, I will take them. I will not harm you. Swear it." Elias tried. He gently lifted the second princess's claw from his sleeve. She made a small cry. Her scales flashed, and the lever on the far pedestal snapped down by itself, like the vault had decided. The dark gap under the bridge lit up, revealing spinning rings of energy, not fire, not blades, just deep power that looked hungry. Hale pulled Elias back. "Stop. This is testing you." Footsteps sounded behind them, not rushing boots. Slow, confident steps. High Advisor Varric emerged from the darkness as if he belonged there. His robe was clean. In his hand was a small crown-shaped device with thin needles along the inside. Soren's eyes narrowed. "How did you get in?" Varric smiled. "The same way your daughters did. Eclipse listens to blood and purpose." Holly aimed his weapon. Hands up. Vorik did not stop. "Commander, you cannot shoot what the vault protects." The floor. Lines flared and Hale's arms locked in place. "Frozen, madame." He grunted, fighting it, but the pressure held. Soren turned her blade toward Vorik. "You led them here. I guided the outcome," Vorik said. "A rival fleet is coming. They will trade peace for the heirs. That is how empires survive." Soren's voice went flat and dangerous. "You would sell my children." Varric's eyes hardened. "I would save our species." He moved fast. Before Soren could strike, he tossed the crown device. It snapped, open in midair, and clamped onto Soren's head. Pain flashed behind her eyes. Her muscles stiffened. Her blade fell, clattering across the floor. "Forgive me," Vorik said softly. "Now the Guardian will open the path." The princesses lifted their heads at once. Their glow surged, bright as dawn, for the first time. Both daughters spoke clearly, together, not to their mother, but to the vault itself. "He is our guardian." The crystal woke fully. The chamber began to shake, and a new message burned into the air. Sequence 2. Begin. Far above, the station alarms returned, and an external ping screamed, "Unknown fleet at docking range. Countdown, 10 o'clock, eclipse beginning." Now, the countdown hit 10 minutes, and the eclipse vault pulsed like a living heart again. Outside, a rival fleet hovered close. On Hale's wrist screen, Red letters flashed. Docking range. Boarding pods inbound. Inside the chamber, Queen Soren stood frozen. A crown of needles clamped her head, stealing her muscles. High Advisor Varric held a slim control stick and watched her. "Open a corridor to the royal wing," Varric said. "Tell your guards to stand down. We'll trade the heirs and avoid war." Soren's lips moved, but her voice would not come. Elias Wren stepped between Varric and the princesses. "Stop. You're hurting her." Varric's smile stayed calm. "Human, you are not part of politics. You're a tool the vault has selected." Above them, the crystal brightened. Words formed in the air. Guardian trial, active. Rule 1, protect the heirs. Rule 2, protect the nest. The nest? Away whispered, straining against the invisible force still pinning his arms. Blue lines sketched a map on the floor. Deck! 0. Then a pulsing marker. Human quarters 12B. Elias stared. "My room." The vault voice spoke through the metal. "The nest is threatened. Guardian must choose." A service lift opened with a deep click, leading up into darkness. Varric nodded toward it. "Good. Take them back. The fleet will follow fear and confusion. You will make the trade easy." Elias looked down at the princesses. Both were awake. Now, the first held his wrist. The second pressed her forehead to his sleeve as if listening to his heartbeat. Elias made his choice. He stepped to Queen Soren and grabbed the shot crown. Varric barked, "Don't." Pain snapped through Ilias's arms like fire. He nearly fell, but he held on. Sparks jumped from the crown into his skin. The first princess hissed, and the air thickened. Varric's control stick ripped from his hand and slammed against the wall. Hale's arms unlocked. He moved fast, tackling Varric and pinning him. "You're done," Hale growled. Varric laughed through clenched teeth. Too late. The pods are already cutting in. Elias yanked again. The crown tore free. Soren collapsed to one knee, gasping, free but shaking. The vault chimed. Guardian chose protection over escape. Trial continues. Hidden side door slid open, revealing a corridor that was not on any station map. Warm air flowed from it. They ran. The corridor rose through tight shafts and sealed panels. Each time, Elias pressed his tone puck. Locks opened. Impacts shook the walls above. Hale's comm finally caught a broken signal. "Multiple breaches," a voice shouted. "They're on civilian decks." Soren's eyes hardened. "They will use my people as shields." Elias kept moving. "Then we don't let them." The corridor spilled them onto a maintenance balcony. Over a busy market deck, now it was chaos. People ran in every direction. A boarding pod hung in the ceiling like a jagged tooth. Raiders dropped on cables, firing stun bolts into the crowd. Elias saw a small child freeze in the open. He sprinted Hale, shouted his name, but Elias was already there, grabbing the child and dragging her behind a pillar. A bolt struck the stone near his head, spraying dust. The princesses moved with him, their bodies blurred, stretching into young dragon forms, still small but strong. Wings unfolded like bright blades, scales hardened and flared with light. One princess slammed into a raider, knocking him flat. The other spread a shield over a cluster of civilians. Bolts hit the shield and burst into sparks. For a moment, the crowd stopped screaming. They just stared. Queen Soren stepped forward, voice steady again. "To me," she ordered. Her guards poured in behind her, forming a wall between civilians and raiders. The raiders retreated toward the pod. One turned and raised a black box with a blinking core. Hale's visor translated the warning that appeared on his screen. "Station killer charge. Arming." Elias felt his throat go dry. Then every public screen above the market deck flashed anew. "Alert. Airlock 7. Opening in 3 o'clock. Eclipse core. Caxes required." Elias looked at the princesses. They looked back. Eyes bright, as if they already knew the next trial would demand more than courage. The countdown hit 3 minutes. Airlock 7. Opening in 3 o'clock. Eclipse core. Access required. Elias Wren stared at the numbers while civilians hid behind market pillars and raiders clustered near a boarded pod. A black box on the floor blinked, like an angry heartbeat. Commander Hale grabbed Eliza's shoulder. That's a station killer charge. If that airlock opens, this deck vents. Queen Soren's eyes burned. Then we stop it. A rough voice boomed from the pod speakers. You cannot stop Eclipse, Queen. You can only choose who dies first. The princess's small, winged, and glowing pressed to Ilias's sides. Both turned toward a service corridor marked with a dark crescent. Elias felt the same pull, like the vault was calling him. Airlock 7 is that way, Hale said. Lockdown gates will slow us. Elias lifted the scratched tone puck. Then, I open old doors. They ran. Hull fired quick stun shots to clear a path. Soren's guards formed a shield line for the civilians. The princesses leaped ahead, flashing brief barriers that turned bolts into sparks. A thick blast door blocked the corridor. Red letters blinked. Locked by Eclipse protocol. Elias pressed the tone puck. The warm hum rolled through the metal. Red light flickered, then turned blue. The door slid open. They sprinted into an emergency-lit ring hall. The station trembled again. More pods, more breaches. Hale's comm spat fragments. Deck 4 fire, mid-by overrun. Airlock Soren cut in, voice like steel. Hold lines. Protect civilians, do not chase. Yes. A wall screen sparked to life with a live feed of Airlock 7. Raiders worked the console. The black box blinked beside their boots. A timer read 1:12. Hale swore softly. Too far by main route. Soren snapped her gaze to a side hatch. Service loop, no entry. That loop runs above Airlock 7. Hale nodded. Elias and I go. The second princess placed her claw on Elias's chest, then on the hatch, claiming the path. Soren hesitated, then nodded once. Go. I will hold behind you. They squeezed into the service loop. It was tight, dark, and full of cables. Elias crawled first, tone puck humming to wake ancient locks. Hale followed, weapon ready. The princess moved between them, silent. The air turned colder. A calm whisper slid through the metal. Guardian trial, final gate, fail, and the heirs burn. Elias clenched his teeth. Stop. The loop ended at a vent above Airlock 7. Below, 4 raiders stood in a half circle. The black box blinked. 024. Hale aimed through the grate. I can drop 2. Not enough time, Elias said. The princess spread her wings, forming a thin shield around the grate. She pushed, and the vent popped free without a sound. They dropped. Hale hit the floor and stunned the nearest raider. Elias rolled toward the console. The princess slammed into a second raider, knocking him away from the black box. A third raider raised a shock baton and froze mid-swing as the air turned heavy for a heartbeat.
Elias grabbed the console lever.
A harsh buzz rejected him. Access denied. The wall behind the console split open. A dragon-marked panel appeared, shaped around a single handprint. Eclipse core. Guardian access. The timer hit 0:10. Elias pressed his palm to the mark. A deep hum woke under the floor. The airlock controls went silent. A new message burned. Into the air, bright and cruel. One life for many. Choose now, on the floor beside the black box. A thin light crawled across the metal, tracing the outline of the airlock seal. The box chimed once, then began a faster pulse like it was sinking with the opening doors. Hale grabbed the charge to drag it away, but an invisible force shoved his hands back, warning hot without burning. He tried the console cables. They snapped back into place, locked by Eclipse. From the corridor outside, Soren's blade rang against armor, and her voice cut through the noise. Hold them. Do not let them touch the Guardian. A wounded raider crawled in, saw Ilias's hand on the mark, and smiled. Good, he whispered. You must pay. The timer hit 0:03. Behind him, the princess whispered, small and shaking, safe. And the Eclipse door began to open. The timer hit 0:03, Elias. Ren kept his palm on the dragon mark as the Eclipse door began to open. The words above the console flashed. One life for many. Choose now. Commander Hale reached for the black charge. An invisible force shoved him back. No pain, just a warning. A raider on the floor watched and whispered, "Pay." Behind Elias, the smaller princess trembled. Safe. Elias swallowed. Eclipse felt like a rule carved into metal. He could feel it measuring his intent. "If you want a life," Elias said, "take mine." How Hale snapped, Queen Soren's voice cut from the corridor. "Guardian, do not." Nothing changed. Elias froze, and the meaning hit him. Eclipse was not asking for a death. It was asking for a choice that could not be undone. A life offered was a promise. He pressed harder. "I choose to stay," he said clearly. "I choose to be their guardian. I will protect the heirs. I will protect the nest." Double quotes. Silence. Then the words shifted. One life. For many, the mark warmed. A thin ring of light formed around Elias's wrist, pulsed once, and locked. Hale stared. A bond. Both princesses lifted their heads. Their scales brightened. The older one touched her forehead to Ilias's arm. Younger copied her. Eclipse spoke deeper now. Choice accepted. Guardian bound. The invisible force vanished. Hale lunged, grabbed the black charge, and dragged it away from the airlock seam. "Now," Elias pointed at the console. "Left panel. Yellow cable. Cut the arming loop." Hale tore it open and yanked the cable. The charge's blinking slowed, then stopped. The box went dark. The airlock seam shuddered, and sealed. Queen Soren burst into the room, blade in hand, guards behind her. She saw the dark charge, the sealed airlock, and the glowing ring on Elias's wrist. Relief flashed across her face, then command returned. "Kneel," she ordered. The princesses lifted a claw together. The raiders dropped, pinned by heavy air. Held helpless, Hale keyed his comm. Airlock 7 secured. Charge disarmed. Sweep remaining pods. Protect civilians. The wall screen flickered. High Advisor Varric appeared, broadcast from somewhere deeper in the station. Calm eyes, calm voice. Too late. "The rival fleet is not here to board. They are here to demand." Soren stepped closer to the screen. "You opened the station to them." "I opened a future," Varric said. "Give them the heirs, and we live." Elias stood slowly. The ring on his wrist pulsed like a heartbeat. He did not feel powerful, felt responsible. "No," Elias said. Vara blinked. "Human, you do not understand. They are kids," Elias cut in. "They chose safety. If this empire can't protect kids, then the empire is the problem," Hal muttered. "That will make enemies." Elias nodded. "Then we do it anyway." Soren lowered her blade. "Eclipse recognizes the Guardian," she said. "And I recognize what my daughters chose." She placed her palm on the dragon mark beside Elias. The mark flared, reading blood, rank, and truth. Eclipse status. Queen verified. A station-wide broadcast ignited. Soren's voice filled every deck. "Ignore false orders. Tech civilians. Any raider who surrenders will be spared." Cross feeds, weapons lowered. Outside, the rival fleet hailed again. Their demand flashed on public screens. "Surrender the heirs." Soren stepped beside Elias. Her daughters pressed close to him, and she did not pull them away. She answered the fleet with one sentence. "No." On the main channel, the fleet answered with silence, and their ships shifted, uncertain, as if they had expected fear, not refusal. Hale's comm pinged, boarding pods disengaging, raiders retreating. In the control feed, Varric's broadcast stuttered. Hale traced it to a relay node and sent a team. Seconds later, Varric's face vanished from the screen. Soren looked at Elias, voice low. "You've saved more than my daughters," she said. The princesses tightened their grip, like they agreed. The panic finally faded. Eclipse sent a final message, quiet and private, only to the room. "Trial complete, nest established. More vaults remain." But Elias felt the pull. Elias stared at the last line as the station hummed like a waking dragon, far below Deck 0. Another ancient lock clicked, answering his promise.